Hey, welcome back to Bob's Two-Car Garage. Now this week I needed to repair my fence. I had some posts that look like this. They're all infested with termites. If you've got a wood fence, you're gonna have to do this once in a while. Stick around. I'm gonna give you some tips that might make your job a little easier, but more importantly, I'm gonna show you some things that might make it last a little bit longer. Stick around. Hi, my name is Bob, and I love my two-car garage. First thing I'm going to do is disassemble the fence on either side of the post. Just take about 3 of those fence pieces off and pull the nails that are attached to the post. For the disassembly process, got a crowbar, little cat's paw right here, hammer, and something to keep me cool. Now you should note that you do not need to disassemble both sections of the fence on either side of the post. It's really not necessary. You really only need to take a few pieces off on each side of that post that you need to replace. Not much left there. Makes it difficult to get that concrete out, but that's step 2. Anyhow, yeah, a lot of termites here. Oh, they're still there. Oh well, something we gotta live with. I've seen all kinds of clever recommendations on how to get the concrete out of the ground, but none of them are really that easy, especially when you lose the post like we did right there. So I'm gonna dig from one side. The more tools you have, the better. This little guy right here, it's great. I use this a lot. I'm gonna probably dig from one side. I'd say this, and a shovel, and water. They're your friend. So regardless of what you've seen on the internet, there's no easy way to get those footings out of there. That one was pretty easy. It took me about 45 minutes. Whatever you dig out dirt-wise is gonna have to get filled back in with concrete. So I suggest that you do it in a way that digs out the least dirt as possible. Get yourself a good shovel. Get one of those big jousting rods so you can bust it up with. Even a sledgehammer works fine. Dig it from one side. Now we're on to the next phase. Once you get the post out and all the old concrete, you want to spend some time just cleaning out the bottom of that hole, getting all the loose dirt out of there. And remove as little compacted dirt as possible, because when you reset that post, you need to fill that entire hole up with concrete. So the rule is, on the depth of the hole, it needs to be 1/3 or even a half deep as the post is tall. My post is 60 inches tall, so I'm gonna make my hole 20 inches deep. Maybe go a little bit deeper, because I also want to put some gravel in the bottom for drainage. If you live in an area where there's a lot of coldness, then you have to go beneath the frost line. So here in California, 22 inches is gonna be just fine from a 60-inch post. Now, when you go out to buy your lumber for your post, make sure that you don't buy wood that's really intended for framing, like Doug fir or pine or whatever. Pine is like termite candy, and Doug fir is like meat and potatoes for termites. So buy something that is intended to be put in the ground. Buy it out of the fencing section at your lumber yard. A lot of times they'll sell cedar. You can use redwood. It looks nicer, and it's somewhat bug resistant. I like to use treated lumber because it's really bug resistant. It's going to last a lot longer. Some people don't like the looks of it. I like the looks of this brown stuff. If you don't, you can always paint it. Now, to line up the post with the existing fence, I use a string along the bottom side. Along the top, I plumb up that post. If the old posts are out of plumb, I ignore them. I want my new post to be correct. When you set that post, don't worry about the top. Just let it run wild. You can cut it off later. So I got it all braced up, ready to pour some concrete. So it's probably going to take 2 bags of concrete to fill up that hole. You need to fill up the whole hole, especially down toward the bottom, because you need compacted dirt. So it's probably going to take 2 bags. I buy the small bags just because I don't like lugging those big old 90-pound bags around. So got a couple 50-pound bags. Going to mix those up in my wheelbarrow right now. Now when you fill up that hole around the new post with concrete, you need to work out all the voids in the concrete. I like to use an old form stake or a piece of rebar or even just a stick or a shovel, but you need to kind of work it and make sure that you fill up all those nooks and crannies around that post. Now I want to make a really big deal out of this. When you fill that hole up with concrete, the concrete should actually come a little bit above the grade, maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches. And I like to taper it off along that top side right there, and that way there won't be any puddles of water that develop around your post. So get it up nice and high. When it dries, there might be a little crack between the post and the concrete where the concrete shrinks a little. And if you really want to do a deluxe job, you can actually take some concrete caulk and run it along that edge so that it's nice and tight and no water will get down there between the concrete and the post. That creates dry rot. By the way, dry rot is not really dry. Once your post is good and set, the concrete is good and set, you cut off the top with your skill saw. Once you're ready to reattach these rails to the post, I recommend that you beef it up a little bit with a block like I did here. Sometimes those ends are kind of messed up, so I cut some blocks, put a little bevel on it to make it look kind of nice, and then I put some screws in here. These are 2.5-inch screws here, 3-inch screws going that way. I actually use my pocket hole jig for putting those screws in that way, but kind of beefing that up a little bit just so it's a little bit stronger where the rails meet the post. Now I don't have to do this, but I'm going to anyway. This whole section right here, I'm going to replace those. It's fast, it's not a big deal, and I'm going to use redwood instead of this cheap other stuff that's on here. So all these are going to come off. I'm going to replace those with some new ones. Again, don't really have to do this, but I want to, and it goes pretty fast. Now to get those that fencing material nice and straight along the top, use builder's twine. Get it nice and tight so it doesn't sag in the middle. You don't necessarily want these to be level. You want them to follow the grade of your yard. It looks a lot more custom. You don't want to do the little step thing because it just looks bad. Now my new fencing material needed to be cut off at the bottom. I fastened it at the top with 8 penny nails. I used my nailer because I have one, but obviously you can do that by hand. On the bottom, I used 1 5/8 deck screws. The bottom one, the fasteners have to be shorter because your rail is set on edge. It should be set on edge. It keeps the fence from sagging. So the top rail is usually run flat and the bottom rail is run vertically. That's correct. That's the way it should be. Whatever kind of nails you use should be rated for exterior use. So galvanized nails, exterior nails, or exterior screws if you're going to use screws. Now, if you notice, this has only been up for about 3 days, and I did not put any gaps in between my fencing material. I did not do that because I knew that this particular material shrinks quite a bit. This little section right here that I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago already has about a 1/4 inch gap between each of those fence pieces, and originally they were like right up against each other. So just something you're probably not going to know until you use it, but this particular wood, this redwood, is wet and it shrinks a lot. Now this little section of the fence right here, right next to the post that I replaced, was sagging quite a bit. So what I did is I ran a 2x4 on edge on the bottom of that top rail, and that helped to raise that up. It actually makes it a better fence. It makes it more rigid both ways. They don't do that originally because it costs more, but if you're building a new fence, not a bad idea to run a rail both ways, both horizontally or laid down flat and vertically. Well, you know, there's an old saying that says good fences make good neighbors. Now, I'm not too sure about the validity of that old saying, but I am sure about this one. It says this: all hard work brings profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. To me and you, that means it's okay to get your hands dirty. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.